Good evening and welcome to Omnibros Live Chill episode. And one reason that we're 14 minutes late is because we got it all out of our system with each other so that we could sit here and chill with you about no politics, man. Peace and love. This is comic book time. I'm Omnidog with my co-host, the Omnibus collector himself, Ryley Mo. Well, how are you doing, Ryley Mo?
Now I'm doing well. Now that we've let it all out of the system, I'm doing well. I'm ready to talk about some books, some stuff that I sent you.
Yeah,
ready to chill.
Jack, right here.
I'm ready, man. It's going to be a good little hour in a stressful few days.
Right. Where we can all let our cares go by the wayside and just float along this lazy river of comic book review and talking about Al Ewing books and Batwing books you sent me and a booby manga you sent me. What is it called?
Gigant. Yeah, so I sometimes buy things based on creator, and that creator did the series Gantz, Hiroya Oku. Some people viewing might be familiar with it. And I'm not such a big fan of those types of books. And I know Jess does have his fair share of booby books. And so I was like, hey, you want me to throw this in? Because I'm not keeping it. And he took it. So this might be the strangest thing that will get Jess to read a manga.
Well, I looked at it and it looks, see, I can read panels like this, 3 straight down panels.
Yeah.
That I can read. It's just when we get into, oh, wow. It's when we get into something like this, then it becomes harder for me to follow since I'm reading it backwards. Here's the other page.
But it is very... Oku, his works, it's not dialogue heavy and it's a very fast read. His stuff is always, you found like one of the probably 10 dialogue heavy pages, but usually it's very, very quick, action packed, especially Gantz. Like I would read a volume of Gantz in 15 minutes easy because it's just so action packed. So a lot of those pages are not going to have a lot of dialogue on them. And it should make it a lot easier if and when you do decide to go through this book. The premise here, though, is basically that I'm trying to remember because it was months ago that I read it. This teenager who enjoys to watch movies of the pornographic sense, he basically meets an actress that he enjoys watching, and they start to kind of form a personal relationship with each other. But then something happens and all of a sudden this actress is able to turn into a giant woman. And that's about it. That's the setup.
Turns into a giant woman. Okay, wait.
So yeah. So there's like some funny sequences about it. And I've heard some mixed things. Some people really enjoy it. Some people really don't. For me, like I know his other work does lean into kind of fan servicey type stuff, which is where it has the a lot of very revealing but not necessarily straight up nudity. But this one leans a little bit into the actual graphic nudity and stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't really want to have that on my shelf, but
see, I don't care.
Yeah, so I have that's my I have like a line that I'm like, and that one definitely crossed a little bit, but I still read the book because I bought it. I just decided not to pick up the next volumes. I think volume 3 is coming out soon.
Let's see where she appears. Oh, there's a little corgi in it. Hey, corgi.
If you do read and enjoy that, though, the other series, Gantz, actually there's 2 other series. The Gantz is an action-packed, way more action-packed. The other one is called Inuyashiki, but I would honestly recommend both of them. Inuyashiki appeared, I did a video that was my choices for the best manga for comic readers, and that showed up on that list. Gantz, the idea there is basically, I don't have a physical copy of it with me, but people die, and when they die, they get taken into this like room where you can go back into the world, but you have to fight like aliens and monsters that appear in the streets. And in the room, you're outfitted with, you know, a certain suit that protects you and gives you added strength. They offer you weapons, guns, other stuff like that. And so, what's up, dude?
Hey.
I'm telling Jess about Gantz. I don't know if you've ever read Gantz before because I sent him this book.
No, I've never read it. I've heard great things though.
So I'm just telling him the plot. Basically, just to start over, people die, and some of the people, when they die, they go to this room, and in the room they're given weapons and a suit that increases their agility and their strength and durability and stuff like that, and they get sent out into the real world. But in the real world, it's now populated with like different monsters and aliens and stuff like that that they have to fight against. And it turns out that these things really are existing in the real world with the humans, but humans can't see them. They can be affected by them, but they can't see them. So basically now these people are trying to protect people and stuff, and you can kill the monsters, earn points, and when you earn points, you can use those points to either come back to life, bring someone else back to life, or earn more weapons to use against the monsters. So I've only read the first about 2/3 of Gantz. It's being re-released in 3-in-1 omnibus editions from Dark Horse. I think 5 or 6 are out right now, which is nice because the total series was about 37 volumes, and it was the latter part of it, or a lot of it actually, was out of print. So it's nice that they're having it brought back into print. But Jess, if you do decide to go for it, like Joe Chip said, recommend pick up the omnibus editions. The other series that I mentioned is Inuyashiki by the same creator. Inuyashiki follows an old man named Inuyashiki who kind of has a very plain and somewhat depressing life. His wife and daughter are not very respectful towards him. He's just kind of bumbling through life. And then one day he goes for a walk with his dog, and out in the park, all of a sudden this event happens, and he doesn't know what the hell happened, but then he wakes up after a big flash or whatever it is, and he starts going on with his life, but very soon he finds out that he's not the same as he was before, and it seems like aliens or something have taken him and then replaced his organs and a lot of his body with a robot body. And so he is now capable of using his body to fly around, use missiles and guns and stuff. And he decides, after a bit of an existential crisis, which is my favorite part about the series, is he sits there and he's like, am I human anymore? And then he decides for himself, my humanity is not based on what I am physically, but my humanity is based on how I am. And so he decides to use his new abilities to help people and becomes kind of a superhero. But in the meantime, there was a young guy who was there at the same time, and the same thing happened to him. And this kid decides the opposite. He decides, well, now I'm not human anymore, so it doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to use my powers to do whatever I want. Kill people, rob people, do anything. So it's this very nice dichotomy between these two characters and their views on humanity and how they are now that their bodies have been replaced. Are they still human? Are they not? Is it about you physically, or is it about your soul? And then their conflict with each other comes into play as well. So I really recommend that one. That one's solid, only 10 volumes long. Very action-packed, very good series. So just putting it out there for you.
Well, enough about that. Here's where the naked chick gets tall.
Oh.
Now she's gigantic.
Yeah.
She's gigantic.
So, and I haven't, by the first volume, I didn't find out how or why, but...
That she got big?
that she like. I know she has a dial that allows her to change her size. But I
Right.
don't really know what the purpose was on that. Like, there's a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah, I'm reading this. I mean,
That's why I sent it
naked
to you.
giant chick. Why not? Ooh, there's also a clothed big guy in it now.
Oh, I think she might have. No, I guess he was big. I was gonna say I think she might have shrunken herself. I don't remember. It's been months.
He's big compared to the kid.
Yeah, that's what I was just seeing.
Well, yeah, I think that this has got a good chance of being read in the next couple of days. Like maybe
Good.
tonight.
He just read it.
Good.
Just read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Loved it.
My type of book.
Yeah. And we were going to talk about a stack of books that I got from Ryley. He was selling off my favorite thing, which is thin Marvel trades. I love those because you get a really good story in a skinny format, and you can usually get done with them in like 45 minutes. He sent me all his Al Ewing stuff, which is a lot of Avengers type stuff. And I think I don't find the Avengers that interesting necessarily. I loved Hickman's Avengers, but these books look really interesting. He sent me, let's see if we can get a good look at them. Mighty Avengers 1, 2, 3, Captain America and the Mighty Avengers 1 and 2, Avengers Ultron Forever, New Avengers AIM 1, 2, and 3, and then US Avengers 1 and 2. So that was a big stack. And then it was an Al Ewing purchase. So we also got Champions 1 and 2, and Rocket and Defenders. And the Defenders, who's that guy? I recognize Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange. Who's that dude?
That is our friend Namor.
That's Namor?
Almost looks like Wolverine.
Yeah, he does for you.
Because it's the OG group, and each of them has their own little one shot in there. I think only 2 of them might be written by Ewing.
Oh, so okay. Immortal Hulk is by Al Ewing. Namor by Chip Zdarsky, Silver Surfer by Jason Latour, and Doctor Strange by Gary Duggan.
Yeah,
that's a
and then there's the Defenders by Al Ewing. Okay, this looks like an interesting book.
I think it was. Yeah, it was. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of those 5th week events that Marvel likes to do, and they just in one of the months that there were 5 Wednesdays, they did one of those issues each week leading into the final issue of Defenders, the big like kind of crossover thing. But yeah, it's cool because it's like you get a taste of all those characters. Chip Zdarsky was writing Invaders at the time, so that's why he's doing that Namor issue. So it's cool. It was a cool little mini event that I enjoyed. I think works well alongside all the other Al Ewing stuff. The Contest of Champions is kind of a spin-off of the recent mobile video game from a few years ago.
I know that.
It is its own little story, but basically you have the Maestro and I think it was the Collector going head to head, and each of them have their own champions, like a handful of different heroes or villains or whatever from around the multiverse. And they pit them against each other. And it did introduce, I think, one new character in the pages of that book.
White Fox? Is that it?
I think that she might have been introduced there. So this one's just a fun little, I think, 10 to 12 issue series, a lot of action. I liked his characterization with Maestro, which obviously after this he would go on to write Hulk. So it makes sense that he wrote a pretty interesting character there.
Who is this green gal?
I forget. Is that Gamora? I don't even. Well, there's Ares next to her.
Ares.
With the armor with the skull on it.
Oh, I thought that was some type of Punisher feature guy.
There is a Punisher in there, though. There's an alternate Punisher in the pages there. But yeah, like I said, it's a fun book. Fun characters, pretty decent artwork as well. And it should be a really quick read for you once you get around to it. That one's not, as far as I recall, not really connected to anything else. It stands on its own.
Okay.
It's kind of a little bit of a spin-off out of Secret Wars. What with all the different characters from different universes getting brought together.
It is called Battle World. I like this artwork a lot. Here's volume 2. Now, Maestro generally is future Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
What's his mindset?
He's bad.
Yeah. Okay.
He bad.
He's a bad guy.
Very bad.
That looks like a cool. This looks really cool right here. Whatever's going on there on this page. I don't know what it is.
We got the Sentry there.
Sentry and the Void.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't the Void who he's always concerned about?
Yeah, the Void is his like alternate evil personality.
Okay. Yeah, I like this kind of artwork for these little paperbacks. I think it works well. And then there's a Rocket. What is this one? Just one shot?
That was a mini series. It's kind of a heist series with Rocket, and it has a lot of other random alien characters. I think some originals, but some characters that existed like in his old original miniseries. I don't remember a lot about the story. It was not bad. It was a pretty fun little miniseries. Just Rocket kind of disconnected from the Guardians and everything else that he's usually affiliated with.
Yeah, these all look like fun, like a lot of fun. And one of the good things about Ryley's packing is
this was not actually intentional, but it just happened to be
worked out that way. Though he packed in reading order, so I don't have to deal with anything. It's all right there in reading order, which was perfect.
Well, you asked me anyway, and I looked at it and I was like, "Yep, that's reading order." Now the Avengers,
up or is it true?
No, it's true. So the Avengers stuff was some of his earliest work at Marvel when he started doing the Mighty Avengers, and it was a street level Avengers book. Unfortunately, he's joined on art by Greg Land, but he does a good job in writing, and he has a lot of really awesome characters that get involved in this book. So he has, Luke Cage kind of acting as the primary hero there. It does tie in to Infinity at the beginning of the book. Superior Spider-Man winds up being part of this book, as you can see there. So, Land doing a little bit of dynamic work, and Land is better when he's drawing characters that have full face masks on, because you don't get all the stupid Land faces like you see all over these pages. Yeah.
See, I don't mind. I know that I'm probably the only one in the Omnibros chat that doesn't mind his work, because everybody's constantly tearing him apart. I don't mind his work. I know you guys hate it with a passion.
Well, this won't be as difficult to enjoy for you then. It definitely took a little bit out of me to enjoy this. So Blue Marvel comes back here. Blue Marvel had not been featured in a series for a little while, but we do get him in here.
Wait, hold on. Is that a Blue Marvel cover? Is that Land?
Yeah.
Is that Greg Land? That's not a bad cover.
He's got to put his best work out on the covers.
I don't think that's a bad cover. I mean, the panel before that looks terrible.
Yeah, you can see the other panel. He's got the land face.
No, just the
Crappy.
anatomy in general looks horrible.
But no, the cover though, he usually puts out his best work on his covers. So yeah, White Tiger, the other Power Man is in there.
There's another Power Man?
That kid with the goggles, he's like young Power Man.
Wow. Young Power Man.
Yeah, I never read his original appearances or anything, but he came out several years before that series did.
That's okay, Ryley. Neither did anybody else.
Yeah, I think it was, for some reason, Luke Cage was busy with something, and they did a Power Man Iron Fist miniseries where it had Iron Fist with that young Power Man dude with the goggles.
God, man, I miss David Walker's Power Man and Iron Fist.
Yeah, those were some good series.
It was fun.
The second series of Mighty Avengers was Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, and that one wasn't. That was it didn't last too long. It was only like 8 issues or something, but it also collects the 2 issues of Captain Britain and the Mighty Defenders from Secret Wars in the second book. And this was a team that was led by Captain America when Sam Wilson was Cap, and it was an all like African American heroes team, and then Captain Britain was like a bunch of other characters during Secret Wars. It was just a 2-issue miniseries. But so that's like a kind of a direct continuation from the first Mighty Avengers team, and I think that it was art by Luke Ross, if I'm not mistaken, and Luke Ross did either all or most of it. So this one, as far as the pencils go, was a lot easier for me to enjoy personally.
Oh, we got some She-Hulk. I always enjoy her.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a bitchin' character.
You know how I feel about my She-Hulk.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting to think that there's a serious lack of really good figures of her, and it's not. There's not really good action figures of her.
They put out the one that's based on her gray appearance.
Yeah,
that was in that Marvel Legends Fantastic Four wave, and that was a decent figure. There's an older Legends that has her, I think, in the purple and white, like unitard type thing. And then there's the one that's on that cover. You can kind of see. And then there's also a Marvel Select, but it was one of the older Marvel Select figures when they didn't have very good articulation at all. It was more like a little statuette, if anything. But yeah, there's really not that many good She-Hulk figures, and I do wish that they would do one that's more based on either the classic version from like the John Byrne, or that same purple and white costume, the one that gets used quite a bit. So that would be
okay.
They did a new version of that.
I like the Dan Slott version of her too.
There's another purple and white that she used.
That's good. Yeah,
that was a good run.
So what was next on that? Al Ewing, after Secret Wars, came back, and that's when he started 2 different titles. One of them is not in the stack because Jess already had it, and that was the Ultimates. And the Ultimates was fantastic. And the first series had artwork by Kenneth Rockefort, and then the second one had artwork by Travel Foreman. And it was a lot of like really big, high concept, universal things that this team was having to work on. And
I feel like Foreman's one of those guys that he's always on the cusp of just really breaking out. He just needs that one title.
I think the problem is that he can't do much.
He can't
Like
do much. His style, he just can't. Short burst.
Exactly. He's so like I don't. It takes him so long to do his work that he can't commit to a full length monthly title. So like he did a 12 issue series with Ultimates. He did a decent size of Animal Man with Jeff Lemire, but aside from those two, it's like mini series here and there that he's worked on. And usually, if he's doing the art on a series, I don't care what the series is or who the writer is. I'm going to check it out because I love his work.
His Animal Man was gorgeous, so much so that whenever he wasn't on it, the book suffered for me.
Who is this?
Travel Foreman.
Huh.
He did the first chunk of Animal Man.
He's in the Ultimates by Ewing?
Yeah, he did the second Ultimates by Ewing.
Yeah.
That's a stack. I can get it, but it's going to take a second.
Yeah, Travel.
I have a certain section of books that are stacked and kept away from everything else.
Yeah, Foreman is one of those guys, man. He just if he could keep up with that monthly grind, but he just can't. He did I think how many issues of Animal Man did he do? He did like the first 4 or 5, then he had to stop.
He left for 1 or 2 issues, and it was De Leon that came on. I don't remember what his first name is.
No.
And then he came back.
And then he finished the run out.
He lasted for I don't remember how many issues, but I think by the time it went to Rot World, I think he was still in there at Rot World, and then he left, and that's when Pew came on. And when Pew came on, that's the point where, like you were saying, a lot of people, that's where they kind of fell off. For me, I didn't fall off because like Pew did the artwork on Animal Man back with Jamie Delano, I think, during that run. So I was familiar with him doing Animal Man. It was like, oh, cool. Now we're back to, the classic. It had that Vertigo feel to it, like 90s Vertigo feel. And then Raphael Albuquerque came on to the artwork. And I actually have a page of his art over here on my wall.
Travel Foreman? I don't know this guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's Travel.
Wow. This is gorgeous.
He's great.
Yeah, Travel Foreman is fantastic. And especially for a book like that deals with a lot of really like abstract characters and villains and stuff.
This is really cool looking.
Yeah, and the other half of it with Kenneth Rockefort is nothing to, shake your head at either. It's the whole book is beautiful. But that happens contemporaneously with his run on New Avengers.
Oh, okay. On Ewing's run?
Yes. So he was doing both of those at the same time. So I'm going to make you hold up both of them at the same time.
I have Avengers here first.
That was another, I think, 5th week miniseries.
Okay.
I actually haven't read that one, but it was like a bunch of different one-shots tying in to make his own little Ultron story.
Here's the U.S.
So it's New Avengers.
New Avengers.
So New Avengers uses a bunch of different characters, but Ewing in that run starts to slowly introduce his own characters that he's created or that are underused, and he's utilizing them.
Wait, we're on New Avengers now?
Yeah, sorry. Switching you around. So this one follows at the beginning. It's basically...
Oh, what the hell? That's Squirrel Girl.
So at the beginning of this run, Roberto da Costa, Sunspot, he has essentially bought AIM, and he's utilizing AIM for Avengers purposes. And the beginning of this run was kind of weak, and I think it's because it was coming right off of Hickman and Hickman's New Avengers and how, crazy of a series that was as far as high concept and stuff. And this one just seemed like it wasn't doing as much. But after the first, I'd say first volume worth of issues, this one really, really started to do it for me. And you see it has the Maker in there, so it does deal with stuff regarding the Maker post-Secret Wars. So if you're wondering where he went directly after Secret Wars, this is the book to read for that. But he does have this team of characters with Sunspot, and you can see Songbird right there, Wiccan, Hulkling, Squirrel Girl does jump in at some point. I forget all the different characters, but he starts introducing new characters as the series goes on. Yeah, this is like the point where this series started turning for me, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm really enjoying reading this one. Just seeing the maker doing what the maker do.
Mm-hmm.
So that series goes on, I think, about 18 issues, dealing with the AIM Avengers Idea Mechanics, as they dubbed it eventually. And then eventually it turns into, was it US Avengers? Is that the next one in the stack? Yeah.
Yeah.
So US Avengers, DaCosta then turns the team into a government-funded Avengers team, and that's why it's all decked out in flags and the Star Spangled Banner. And you have a new.
Guys.
It's very. Yeah, it's very, very like tongue in cheek because Ewing is a British writer, of course. So he's going out there with like this new Red Hulk with Star Spangled shorts, got the 2 double-barreled guns. He's got.
It's not Ross. Like everybody thinks it's Ross. It's not.
Yeah, it's a new character. You've got a new Iron Patriot. You've got the Captain America there with the shield. I think that's from an alternate timeline Captain America. And then they're all standing on top of a tank that has 2 barrels. Which was hilarious to me. I remember when that cover came out and a lot of people were like, this looks stupid. And I was like, this is the funniest thing I have ever seen.
But it's supposed to be stupid fun.
Yeah. You get American Kaiju in there. Like basically, the character Nuke, or like all the nukes from the Captain America books, who has the flag on his face in paint. It's basically Nuke, but a kaiju, like Godzilla size. And yeah.
This looks like a total blast. The golden skull.
It's like the Red Skull, but like I think uber capitalist or something instead of being fascist.
I love that run. It's so much fun.
It's
great.
So fun, and it has a lot of great characters in there too. So many good characters and good character moments throughout that run, and it's very underappreciated. But his entire all of those Avengers titles really kind of blend together and work really well as one ongoing run that's very similar themes going on throughout it. So it's really great. I really enjoyed this run. I appreciated everything that Al Ewing did when he was writing all these Avengers titles. Like I said, it was a little weak with the beginning of New Avengers, but as that one got into its stride, it really took off, and I really, really loved it.
I can't wait to read these books. These all sound great.
And it should be all quick reads as well. They're all action-packed books. It's not manga, so you don't have to worry about reading it backwards. So yeah, you should be able to churn those out within a week or so, or less.
Hour.
Great. And I have this Ultimates collection that I can read beside it.
So that one, yeah, definitely. If you're reading all of it, at least save Ultimates for after the 2 Mighty Avengers titles.
Okay.
But you don't have to read it before you read all of the other stuff. You don't have to read it before New or US. You can read it. You can read it on its own after all of that.
Doesn't he tie some of that stuff into Uncanny Avengers? Aaron's run? No. Remender's. No, it was Uncanny Avengers by Dugan was tied into it. Yeah.
I forgot to talk about our sponsor, InStockTrades.com.
Where you can get most of those books right now for 42% off.
Like 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. At the end of every month, we give out a $50 gift card from InStockTrades.com. Order $50 or more in a order in the United States, you get free shipping, which is incredible. And there's fabulous customer service there, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. Okay, whew. Okay, so those are those good books. And then, so we talked about all the Ewing stuff that you sent me, and it was on my own that I'm trying to put together New 52 stuff that I liked, and I remember liking Batwing, especially when Jimmy Palmiotti came on with Justin Gray for the last, I think, 2 trades.
Yeah,
that was good. So I dug Batwing because he was just different, and that's what I was looking for with New 52, was just different. And so you sent me the full run of Batwing.
Yeah, I never got to read any of it, but I'd like to go and read it digitally. But I just thought when it came out, it was interesting to me that was the character, because like Batwing had only really appeared a couple of times before that in Morrison's Batman Incorporated. So I was like, that's interesting. They're giving that kind of random background character his own title. But I know, like, whenever it was, I think it's David Zabimbe was the original Batwing. Some people really enjoyed that run. Some people didn't enjoy the Judd Winnick run on it. But yeah, I hadn't really heard anyone talk about the later part by Palmiotti. But if you're saying it's good, then I'll believe you.
I liked it. Thank you, Marcelo. I appreciate this. He loves my enthusiasm. And there's another, I think Lionheart asked how I was feeling. So I wanted to get back to that because that's nice when somebody cares.
None of the rest of us, we don't care.
No. Let's see. Okay, Quack is saying, glad you're feeling better, Jess. I am feeling better. Thank you. I think Ironheart asked how I was doing, and I'm doing okay right now. Thank you. Did you sell? Okay, let's see. Did you sell your Gantz Omnis, Ryley? I don't think I saw them in your last video collection.
So I did that prematurely because I was frustrated because it seemed like that line got canceled. And I also did need a couple bucks at the moment, so it was, a decent financial move on my part. But I'll probably wind up. My plan is to repurchase by the time that the 6th one, I think, is the upcoming one. By the time that one comes out, because I do want to. The thing is that I'm not going to be actually reading them until I get to the last few, like the last 4, because that's the stuff that I haven't read before. So I'm not in that much of a rush to get them back in my collection. Also, they are kind of thick. They do take up a lot of space. So I'll see. I'll probably rebuy them. But like I said, it was premature. It was just me being upset because it looked like they had canceled that volume. But in reality, it was canceled to be resolicited. Yeah, good eye on spotting that and remembering that I had them in my collection before.
Here's Chest Rockwell, who happens to be a Patreon. First show I've caught live in a while. Good to see the bros. Lou, do you remember all the details about our campfires and so forth about Patreon, or do any of us?
Yeah, $5 a month. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, patreon.com/Omnibros live, where we have two options for you lovely people out there. There is the $1 option, which is the tip jar option. That is for those of you that, hey, things are tough, whatever, but I want to contribute. I want to help you guys out. Every dollar does count. I'm going to throw $1 your way. So, and there is, of course, the $5 tier. The $5 tier is what we call the campfire tier, ladies and gentlemen, where you can gather around a campfire. No, not really a campfire. You can gather around with us on patreon.com/Omnibros live. And for $5 a month, we meet on a Zoom meeting. We have a Zoom meeting and we just kind of shoot the shit, kind of like tonight, but with you guys in the actual Zoom meeting. So you're participating and you get to pretty much ask us just about anything you want. Almost no topic is off the table. Yeah. For example, what was it, 2 weeks ago? We saw Jess's Booby Books collection. That was nice.
Yep. Brought that right out.
That was really nice. And the last time, it just keeps getting bigger. Last time we had, what, a total of 10 people?
I feel like it, yeah.
Yeah, it got really big. We had about 10, 12 people at once, and honestly, it was just a chill night. And it went for, what would you say, for about 2 hours? Close to it?
About an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half? So
Yeah.
for about an hour and a half, and really it's just like tonight. Only you guys are involved in it more, and that is exclusive to you guys. Now, if you, for example, miss a night or something like that, you do have access to the backlog, correct? Yeah, Gabe posts those a little bit later.
I think that's right.
They're all recorded.
Okay. So, for example, if you want to join in now, you get to see all those old episodes that we did on there. Gabe records them, and then he throws them up there so you can see if, for example, you can't make it a Saturday night.
Awesome.
I don't have a jingle. I'm sorry.
You what?
I don't have a jingle.
Patreon.com.
There it is. There's our new jingle.
It's you got to do the campfire song from SpongeBob.
CAMPFIRESONG song. CAMPFIRESONG song.
Omar Reyes. You on my channel, you can find an Irredeemable review that I did, calling Irredeemable the best comic book ever. So you can read that. I still have to reread Incorruptible. I also liked Incorruptible, but I got it in. I haven't read it in a while, so I got the Omni, and I'm going to reread it. You can search my channel for my Postal complete review because I love Postal. Basically, I love all three of these books. I don't know how my co-hosts feel about them. I also don't know that my co-hosts have read them or not. So, there's Lionheart asking how I'm feeling. Thank you, buddy. I'm feeling good. Yeah, you can check my channel out for all that, and I can let my co-hosts speak for themselves on if they have read these books at all and how they feel about them.
I haven't read them.
That's what I thought.
That was so disappointed sounding. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like your father when he's looking down at you and he catches you in a lie.
Ryley, did you study for this test? That's what I thought. That was me in high school whenever we had to do summer reading. And they would give us freaking 3 thick-ass books that I didn't give a crap about. And I wouldn't read any of them. And then we had to take tests on them in the beginning of the year. And I would read the Cliff Notes and Spark Notes and stuff. And then I would fail. And my dad would be like, Ryley, did you read those books? And I'm like, yes. Did you actually read those books or did you just read the notes? I mean, I also watched the movies.
You got summer reading? I never had summer reading.
I never had that
bastard. I don't know. Maybe did either of y'all go to a private school, or am I the only one?
No,
I went to public school.
Okay, so that's probably it.
I'm a product of the public education system.
Me too.
See, y'all probably did all your work, and I'm the lazy one.
You went to private school?
Yeah, private school kids, a lot of the times, as far as I've noticed, were not as bright.
He thinks he's better than us, Lou.
I'm telling you, I think I'm worse than y'all.
He went to private school.
Private school doesn't have as good of an education because you don't have to necessarily be certified to be a teacher at a private school.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
this is. I knew people fresh out of high school that were teaching at a private school.
Here's Chest talking about the paper.
Booby books and weeds.
Yeah, we did talk about weeds too.
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless.
Yeah, we pretty up. I personally will answer any question you want to ask me on Patreon. Everybody else is actually fairly honest too. So whatever, from comic books to booby books and weed stories, whatever you want to hear, pretty much just go ahead and ask on Patreon.
Goodness gracious.
Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, the Postal collection. Where's that? Here it is. I got the Kickstarter version of it. It has a dust jacket, and there's 2 new trades out.
There are
Deliverance that I haven't read yet.
There are 2 that come after that now.
Come after this?
Yeah, both of those come after.
Yeah, this is a Postal Deliverance. It's a new story.
Huh.
But
I knew there was some material, but I didn't know there was that much. So I wonder if they'll do a second complete, like, hardcover to keep everything else in.
I don't know how far he's going on this story. Actually, I don't know. I haven't read 1 and 2, so I don't know how far he's going. But the back looks like exactly what I want in a comic book. Just
Is that machete?
So, and this is a cool cover. So yeah, I love Postal. And if you like Postal, you'll want to consider the Tithe and Think Tank, which are they have a crossover. They're written by the same team, and the crossover, there's a crossover in it because they all cross over for an issue, and the Tithe is about corrupt churches, and then Think Tank is about corrupt think tanks where they are really meticulously researched and studied. The Brian O'Malley, not Brian O'Malley,
Azzarello?
Brian Hill and Matt Hawkins. They're the ones that I think it's Matt. They're Matt Hawkins' creation, and he and Brian Hill write these. And the research that goes on in Tithe and Think Tank is highlighted in the back of the book, and it's like 10 pages long, all these footnotes and everything, where they talk about how their writing concepts are grounded in the reality of a lot of what's going on. I mean, they take the corrupt church theme and go, way off and onto a tangent of different places, and same with Think Tank, but they're both fantastic books that I love a lot. So if you like Postal, you should definitely try out the Tithe and Think Tank. They're all part of the Eden verse that they've created.
So those are Tithe and Think Tank are both separate titles?
Yes. And you can read them all separately. They cross over into one special that you can or you don't have to read it. Now I can't think of what it's called. Maybe it's in here. No. They cross over, but that's the only time they cross over. But they're all worth reading, but they can be read separately, and that's fine.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I have reading that I have to do for Crime Corner tomorrow and for my show with Omnicat on Saturday. And I think Sunday I am starting Al Ewing and his Fabulous Avengers.
The Ewing verse.
Ewing verse, yes. But first,
that was going to be one of my videos. I was going to do the Ewing verse, but I was like, I don't think I'm going to get around to rereading all these. I'm going to send them a jest.
I'll steal that idea. Thank you. And I will definitely be working in Gigant because this looks like my kind of book.
That's why I threw it in.
Oh yeah, here's where she can touch her her dial thingy that's on her.
Cool.
That makes her large and in charge.
The embiggener.
Perfectly cromulent. Yeah, I'm totally digging this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to read that. Let's see. I don't know anything about Oblivion Song. I did not read it, so I can't comment. Have either of you read Oblivion Song at all?
I think I've read the first paperback worth, and I really didn't think much of it, so I didn't continue.
Okay. It's by my nemesis, so I didn't bother. Kirkman. Lou and I did a review on Outcast, and we got about halfway through it, and we were just like, we're not even gonna finish this review.
Yeah. There was nothing I didn't think there was anything really original to it. I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's where we landed, and then we just took questions for the rest of the. So I don't know about Oblivion Song. Although what's that?
I was gonna say I think we're pretty universal on Kirkman. We're all just kind of we don't hate the guy. It's just none of his stuff really does it for us.
Except for Invincible, and you guys have said the first 50 issues of Walking Dead.
That's about right.
I have heard, Omar saying Firepower. Did you read Firepower, Lou?
No. Gabe was the one that read it.
Gabe read that. Okay. Yeah, he thought that he liked that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a trade paperback and then an issue you got or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first issue in a trade paperback.
Something like that, yeah.
Let's see. Joe Goose. He's another patron of Patreon. You guys exceeded. You exceeded for DC Futures Date.
As somebody that doesn't give a damn about continuity, yes.
You are excited.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I don't care about continuity anymore. Yeah.
I think it's going to be similar to Convergence, in where a lot of the Convergence miniseries were, some of them were just pointless trash, and then some of them were cool because you got to see either creators return to characters that they had worked on before, or you got to see really cool team ups. Like I think Jeff Parker and Evan Shaner came on for Shazam, for instance. It's going to be kind of like that, except it's, taking place in the future with different characters, because it's the same type of it takes place over 2 months. Everything's limited series that replace the main series. It's very, continuity light or completely disconnected. I don't know what the idea is on that yet, but there's a lot of creators that I'm very interested in seeing from, like Swamp Thing by Ram V is really going to be something special for me. But then there's a lot of creators that I'm completely unfamiliar with. So it's going to be interesting to see what some of these creators whose names are unknown to me wind up bringing to these characters.
If it's for 2 months, I'm interested because I saw a cover of Wonder Woman. She's got the utility belt on and Superman's cape or something, and Green Lantern's ring around her neck. And she looks boss. So I'm fine with it. Anything that shakes things up and is different for a little bit, I'm fine with that.
Well, aren't they saying that they're going forward after this? They don't really care about continuity as much or something like that.
Is that right?
That was I was reading that article when it was shared, and it was something from that Rich Johnston said over on Bleeding Cool. So it's not anything that anyone has officially confirmed yet. But the idea being that it's, you know, going to be multiple continuities and they're not going to try and stick to one.
Is that good or bad? Or do we not know?
It depends on how it's handled. I think like it could be something that works really well. It basically just be like a bunch of Black Label stories, or like stories from the all ages line that are not in continuity, but they're well written stories by different creators and stuff. But at the same time, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are upset that you're not getting things that feel like they matter, because it's not developing the characters in the long run, I guess.
Let's see.
Saying the word Black Label just ugh.
I bought all of Corto Maltese, Lars, and I'm going to read it someday soon. I'd like to start reading that next year after I read the Brubaker Captain America readathon. I must do that. Crossover just did come out today. Yeah. This is a question that we've been asking for 3 years now. Dark Knight's Metal. 2 years ago, Scott Snyder said to me, yes, it will be here by the end of the year. And Greg Capullo said, you're costing us money by not having him buy those trades and making him wait for an omnibus. And they both thought that was funny. And I ended up with no omnibus and 4 different books in 4 different formats still in my shelf. So I don't know. And neither does Scott Snyder, apparently.
Neither does any. Nobody knows what's going on at DC right now.
Yeah, DC doesn't know themselves.
I don't even think they have a collector's editions department, so I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah, it's really up and down right now.
There's this phone call, Omar. Hey, do you think we should print this?
I think Omar's contact got fired.
I think you're right.
I think it was because whenever the round of layoffs happened, they were still on for 60 days due to the it's called the WARN Act, where if you don't terminate people, or if you do a round of layoffs without a decent amount of warning, then you have to keep those people employed for 60 days after the date that you tell them they're laid off. So Omar's contact, I think their 60 days is coming up, and that's why they were like, hey, by the way, this is my last day.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. Monstrous is awesomely awesome, Lars, and Ether is excellently excellent. I highly recommend both. Monstrous is by Marjorie Liu, and Ether is by Matt Kint. And they're both really good in completely different ways. They're both excellent fantasy books. Omar Reyes, have you read any of my fantasy books that I did in the Omnidog's Vault for just you fantasy episode? Omar Reyes, answer my question. Let's see. Here's an Omar Reyes question about something else. Silly question, but does it really matter in the omnibus world if you have the first printing / run that came out or a reprint? I missed all the X-Men Omnis, but they're all being reprinted. Let's ask the omnibus collector himself.
Wait, what? What did I do?
Does it matter if an omnibus is first printing or not? I don't think it does.
That's a matter of personal preference, because I have seen people who think that it does matter. There are people out there who say, like, you know, this is the first printing. But honestly, like, if you were to pull out, like, She-Hulk, just because that's the only thing I have next to me that's an omnibus, and I opened it up and I saw this and it said, like, first printing second edition compared to, like, first printing first edition, I wouldn't give a crap. It's the same contents inside. It's like, if you were to offer me, I guess another example would be something that has actually been reprinted. something. What has actually been reprinted? I have most of the original printings myself.
Those people just annoy me. I'm sorry. If I show you a book and you're like, I'm actually picking out the first edition, so it doesn't count, I'm gonna slap you in the face with the book.
Like Ultimates, for instance, was what, last year or early this year that it got reprinted. I don't give a crap. This is the same book. It's the same story. It's the same 24 issues or 25 issues by Mark Miller. I'm sorry, 28 issues, just to get the math right. This is the same 28 issues by Mark Miller that is in the original printing. It might be thinner. That's the only thing. Some people have a preference for the books to either be thicker or thinner.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I like the thinner paper because as long as it's not so thin that it's wavy, like, sometimes you get the paper that's just flimsy. As long as it doesn't do that, I like the thinner paper because I can fit more books on my shelf. I got limited room. I'm going to be in this house for the next 20 years and my library is already full. So a thinner book, I'm going to go for the thinner book. But for some people, they get really particular, like Luis was saying, and they, the actually group who's like, that's not worth as much because it's the second edition. I'm like, it's not a single issue, bro. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
We're like, for me, at least, these collected editions, this is not a game for like collecting for worth. This is a game for collecting for the story.
Yeah.
I buy these books. The reason that I became the Omnibus collector is because I found that I preferred reading these formats, reading these stories in this format. To me, this is the optimal format for me to read these stories in. That's why I collect them, because I like reading them. But as far as the printing goes, I don't care. This could be the 7th printing for all I care. But if it's the 8th printing, that's it. No 8th printing for me. I'm trying to look for other stuff that's been reprinted. I want stuff to be reprinted. Things constantly need to be reprinted. We need to have these things out in the market, and that's why I'm so happy that that like David at Marvel is listening to Omar and watching Omar's streams and getting involved with that stuff, because it's helping us to now saturate the market with reprints and saturate the market now with the ability for these people to finally own these books that they've wanted to own without having to pay stupid prices. Like, I haven't had to buy many of the reprints, but this one, Silver Surfer, Wolverine, those were 3 that I picked up, and I'm very happy to be able to have them in my collection and have only paid about $50 each. Whereas, for the past several years, it's multiple hundreds of dollars, and it's like, I'm just trying to buy these so I can read these collections in my preferred format. I'm not trying to have a trophy. I'm not trying to have clout. I'm not trying to be like a hype beast of books and stuff, I'm going to reshelf this.
Yeah, Uncanny X-Force, that's a recent reprint. The people were always dying for the Punisher. Punisher books, Omnibus.
Yeah, the Marvel Knights Punisher was huge.
Yeah.
That is one that I had to get the reprint of. I completely forgot because that was a little bit ago. And now the issue is what we have to deal with is with things selling out too fast.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before, and it's gotten brought up. Omar and I still are planning on doing a video together on my channel that we're going to talk about, why this has been happening, what's happening in the industry and within retailers and stuff that's causing things to sell out. Why is it that every Tuesday it seems like everything that just came out is sold out on in-stock trades within like an hour at least? Like what is it that's happening? And so we're going to kind of address that and give some answers and kind of some, I guess, shed some light on the hopeful future, in that these situations should not be lasting much longer. But I think Omar and I have arranged either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh,
it's
good.
really just whenever our schedule permits. I wanted to do it with him tomorrow, but I haven't been sleeping the past couple days. And so I'm like running on empty. I'm running on like an hour and a half nap that I took a few hours ago. So I'm just like, there's no way I'll be able to jump on and work and do a show with him tomorrow.
And I think there's one thing that's leading to the shortages is another reason why it's good things are getting reprinted is there seem to be so many more collectors in this market now, in this hobby rather. There's a ton more collectors in this all of a sudden almost overnight, making a market for books like Annihilation Conquest, which was like a remainder book, and people calling I don't know, people calling these books whales that are just totally not whales, that just went out of print, or not even went out of print, they got remaindered. And
like someone asked about Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's out of print now? That thing's been around literally for like a decade at this point, just sitting on shelves, remaindered out, discounted to the point where I'm upset that I had to pay half of the cover price. Because people have been getting it for like $30-$40 for who knows how long.
And now it's whales.
Yeah, it's insane. Now it's the, hey, are they going to reprint this? And it's like Marvel doesn't look at a book and think like, yeah, we should probably reprint Marvel Zombies Omnibus, when they sat on so many copies in a warehouse that they had to reach out to retailers and be like, because this is what happens. They'll reach out to the retailer and say, hey, we've got X amount of copies. Do you want to buy these for like 80% off? And then the retailer is like, sure. And then they go around and they're like, we're selling them for 60 or 70% off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if they had to do that with like hundreds of copies of Marvel Zombies, they're probably not going to feel like it needs to be reprinted. And that's why it took so long for Inferno to get announced as an omnibus, not even reprinted, but an Inferno omnibus, is because that was one of those books that happened with. And I remember seeing it. It was at my local shop back home in Houston, and it was on the shelf with all the other remaindered books. And it was the day that I bought, this was a fateful day. I bought the first several volumes of Incredible Hercules. It was the first time I ever read that series. And I bought them because they were remaindered off at 60% off cover price. And they also had a copy of Inferno, and I didn't grab it because I didn't have the money for it. And then like within a year after that, I kicked myself because I couldn't find a copy.
Oh, yeah.
Fake comic fan.
That was like that was a super whale, Inferno, and that wasn't even an Omni, right? That's just an oversized book. But now it's going to be an Omni.
Yeah. Now it's going to have basically the contents of the original hardcover and the tie-ins hardcover in one place. So that's going to be nice, nice and thick.
Yeah.
Nice and thick.
Actually, I gotta get going in a few minutes because I gotta hit the hay. I gotta be up early.
Yeah, we'll both just answer another couple questions and then we'll call it a night, I think. So, Lou, where can they find you?
Comics God 101 on the Twitter and on YouTube. That's where you can see all my old videos. I'm getting out of here. I got stuff to take care of and I gotta go to bed.
Peace, dude.
Good night, everybody.
We'll just answer a couple more questions. First, let me talk about InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. At the end of the month, their IST is kind enough to give us a $50 gift card to give away to viewers like you. Order $50 or more in an order in the United States. You get free shipping. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
So I saw the question regarding shelving for Omnis. I use, these are Billy shelves from IKEA. A lot of people do not like the Billy shelves. You cannot tell from that angle, but the shelves will sag a bit, especially when you have a lot of heavy weighted items on them, which is bound to happen when you fill the shelf out. But I have never once in almost, because I'm talking about back when I started collecting like manga almost 20 years ago, I was using Billy shelves back then as well. I have never once had an accident where one of them broke, snapped, or anything. That's me. That's not the case for everyone. I know some people did with the older ones, but they have since reinforced the way that the individual shelves are made so that they should not bust as easily. And basically what some people would have happen is it would the part that sticks into the side here would come out. But now the way that that's reinforced is really well done so that it should be strong enough. Now the ones behind me, that's Kallax or Kallax from IKEA, also IKEA. These are really popular, and those are great, as Jess is showing, really good for they fit omnibus editions. I think they fit absolute editions as well. I'm not 100% sure on that because I've never put them in. I have a bunch of manga on mine, and mine's actually double-sided. I have mine creating kind of an aisle in my library, so behind that shelf is all my DC stuff. But I have a 5x5, and there's still room. You can see I have a little metal Wolverine. It does?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a little metal statue at the top there of Wolverine, and there's still room above him that if they made a 6x6, I could fit one of those in here. And that's why I buy the Billy shelves, is because they take up, when you don't have a ton of real estate, the Billy shelves will not only go higher, but they make extenders for those shelves. I have one. You can see.
There's my shelf to the sky right there.
Yeah, you can see mine over there. It's got the little extender that's poking out behind that Kallax, whatever you want to call it, shelf. So I don't have a lot of those, but I do have a couple, and they're really helpful. Especially helpful because I used to live in an apartment with much higher ceilings, so they're especially nice if you have like 10-foot tall ceilings instead of the standard 8. And then you can put the extender, and then above that you could even put more stuff on top. So it really depends. I will also say if you use I'm trying to find one that's in view. I guess I can. My computer's really finicky, so I'm trying to not move it around so much. Let me just get up. And so this is also a Billy. That's just a thin Billy. These are a lot more sturdy because you don't have as much weight being dispersed. So if you're using it for omnibus and stuff and heavier books, it's not going to sag. These are a lot more sturdy. So it would be more expensive to only get a bunch of the thin Billies. But you could do that. And then I don't know if they make these anymore, but this is a Gnedby. And the Gnedby is thinner, or not as deep, you can see, as a Billy. So these are perfect for manga. You can see that the manga here has barely any space. There's not really a lip right here. So that's perfect for manga. It's also great for movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs, and stuff like that. But I wanted to use it as a little tiny little extender because I could fit basically just that much before I hit my light switch on this wall. So I actually have a video where I go over all of that on my channel. But basically,
shelving?
Yeah, if you watch the video, it's basically me saying everything that I just said.
Oh, okay.
It's recorded.
That's a good one. I need to steal that idea.
I might do a new one because that was back when I wasn't editing my videos, and I think I just filmed it on my phone with me being like, "Hey guys, the shelves, they're here. It's just my stuff." And now I could put now that I'm editing and putting effort, I could use the tripod, shoot a shelf, move it, shoot a shelf, edit together, cut it together, add prices and stuff and links. But I've got a lot of stuff going on, so it's hard for me to dedicate to that.
Yeah, you're not unemployed anymore.
Yeah, that's real mixed bag there.
And here's another type of Billy shelf right here. These the
short ones.
Short Billies. Yeah, they have over there I have 4 on top of each other. Floor 2 right there with statues on top. And I mean, technically, I could go to the top of the room with them, but I like the space on the wall for the artwork.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I didn't allow myself much of, was the space for art. So I
Yeah.
literally, like, you saw all the art that I had when I just got up. There was the Animal Man piece, and then like next to my light switch, there's just a couple of pieces hanging up. And I have like a closet full of different art that I used to display when I didn't have as many books, and now I don't have room for it. So
Here's a great question.
ugh.
Hey guys, do you ever have buyer's remorse for any books?
I know Jess's answer. Jess had the most immediate buyer's remorse. He received the copy of the Omnibus 2 and didn't even open it. You didn't even open the box, did you?
I don't think so. It was just
Like
that
you knew that it came, and you were immediately like, I don't want this.
I sold it in the box, I think, to Doug McAdams. Yeah, that was as soon as it came in, I put the label on it and sent it to Doug.
I do mostly with paperbacks, because a lot of times I'll buy out of the habit, and that's something that I'm trying to break myself out of, and that's why I'm selling a lot of paperbacks right now. Is I get into a habit where I want to be very complete with something. So that's why, in the case of all the stuff that Jess got from me, I bought everything that Al Ewing wrote, and I've already read it. I know I enjoy it, but I don't know that I'm going to reread it, and it's not in my preferred format. So it's like, I'm trying to make myself get to the point where, instead of buying every thin paperback that exists for a certain character or for a certain writer, I'll just wait and see what happens as far as if a premium format comes out. And if it does, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. I can always reread those digitally at some point down the line. And it's, you get to that point where you have to tell yourself, like, it's okay not to have all these She-Hulk books. I haven't gotten to that point. I love She-Hulk. So, but I did that with a bunch of DC books recently, and I'm like, it's okay if I don't own all of these Aquaman books or something. I can still read these online, but I'm going to keep my Aquaman omnibus and the oversized hardcovers because I like that format. So that's a really roundabout answer for remorse. It's also a really large answer because that's a lot of paperbacks that I've bought throughout the years that I'm now being like, I think I'm gonna let go of all these.
Just read the Meta Baron second cycle. Oh, I read the Meta Baron second cycle. It was so good. Oh, okay, good. I'm looking forward to reading that. I just got that in.
I have the big old fancy pants edition of Meta Barons. It's up. You can kind of see the inkle right here.
Did you get the fancy pants inkle?
Yeah, that's the fancy pants inkle. And then the fancy pants Meta Barons is right next to it. And I have not read either. I don't know if anyone else does this, but like, this is part of my issue as a collector. Sometimes I give myself reasons that I should buy something. And then, like, sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. And in that case, my reasoning as to why I needed to buy Fancy Pants Inkle and Fancy Pants Meta Barons was because Jodorowsky is like one of the few Chilean creators, and I needed to honor my Chilean family by buying his work in the fanciest edition that I enjoyed. So
I think you'll really like the inkle, though.
You think I will?
Yeah, I've read it, and I think you will really dig it.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's not a book you're going to regret buying. I think it, as much as you like Morrison and things of the kind of outer mind experience type thing, I think you'd really dig this. It's a great book.
That's good.
I haven't read Meta Barons yet, but I know I've read all the Inkle books. Yeah,
I need to read them, and then I'm wanting to see a similar Fancy Pants edition of the Techno Priests. Yeah. And my secondary reason of wanting to buy Techno Priests, aside from my reason I just mentioned, is because I think it's very funny that the Spanish name is Tecnopapas.
Tecnopapas?
Techno papas.
Techno papas.
Because priests like papas like papa, like the Pope.
Oh, uh-huh.
So
well, I have a big fancy edition. Well, I didn't get the fancy pants of the Inkle because I already had the absolute sized fancy pants Inkle, and I didn't know if I should double dip on that. But now that I see how beautiful the Meta Baron's fancy pants is, I feel like I kind of missed out on getting the fancy pants Inkle. Even though that Inkle at the time that I found it was like going for $400 on eBay. I know.
Yeah, they are pretty fancy pants.
Yeah, they're really gorgeous.
Yeah, I really need to get around to reading those.
Yeah, start with the Inkle. You'll dig it.
I need to watch more of his movies too, but those are really out there. I think it's easier for me to take in like cerebral comics and stuff because it's easy to just sit there and reread the same page 4 times until you really get it.
Yeah.
But with a movie, it's a little bit like the flow is a little more disrupted if I sit there and pause and rewind multiple times. So
yeah,
it's a little
especially
bit harder. Anyone else who want to talk to before we peace it out?
Let's see. No, Jesse Christian, sorry, we stopped talking about Al Ewing books, although I am going to read all these and steal Riley's idea of doing a review on them. So
Please do.
I even have his blessing. So I'll do a review on these books because they look super fun. Let's see. Brubaker Cap, I think they answered their own question in there. Beep 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 beep. Yeah, I need to see every spine. And man, I can see what you mean about doubling up. I could do that. And it's possible I could get desperate enough to do that. It's something to think about because Kalex are definitely deep enough that I could put 2 books on double the size of the number of books on each shelf.
So that's what I have going on here.
Oh, you do?
But those books on the other side, you can walk around to the other side.
Oh, so mine are, I can't do that. Mine are up against the wall.
Well, I am getting summoned, so I gotta go so we can go ahead and wrap up.
Okie dokie, Omnibus Collector, where can they find you now that you're pumping out these videos? I just saw another video of yours go up today.
Oh, yeah, it's one that you would totally love, Jess. On the Omnibus Collector, I am posting. I'm trying to get back on my normal schedule, but being back at work, it's a little bit harder to stay on, but I'll get to it. But yeah, I just did a video ranking, if you're a manga fan, the 12 newest Shonen Jump series. So the 12 newest titles that are in that weekly magazine in Japan. I've read all of them, caught up with them, and I am ranking them to let you guys know what's worth it. So check that out. Like I mentioned earlier, next week, Omar and I are planning to get together to do a video on my channel talking about what's going on with everything selling out so fast and when we can expect those things to kind of end and get back to a bit of normalcy with this hobby. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And passing it back off to you, Jess.
Okie dokie, thank you. And here's let's see. Look forward to doing Omnidog manga review for. I think you mean Blade of the Immortal. When I get Blade of the Immortal in, I will definitely be reading it. I just got a shipping notice on it, so I will be reading it. I think before you get that review, you're going to get Gigant review from me.
I'll be looking forward to that one.
Super Simi, I just got Irredeemable Incorruptible Mummies and your advice. Both great recommendations. Thanks heaps. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna peace out, all right?
Okay.
I'll see you later. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Night, dude. Okay. Let's see. Yes, double layering saves me a ton of room. Yeah, I would love to see all spines, so I'm good with knowing what I have without seeing them. That's a good point, and I may end up, the more I look at it and the more I think about your idea, the more sense it makes for me to put those things in there. I would have to have written down somewhere what the contents of that shelf were, like a strip of paper on the front of the shelf saying what's contained there, because the back would be completely hidden by the front. I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good idea. That would solve an awful lot of my problems with room. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking about that, dude. That might be a pretty darn good that might be a pretty darn good yeah. You're right, Nelson. Because that's what's happening right here. And over there. Wait, let me get your question off. Whoop, I thought I just had your question off. You can see books in that corner. That's my those are my Judge Dredd readathon. Here's all my new books that still need to be shelved. And that would solve an awful lot of problems. Or I could put trade paperbacks in front of the Omnis, and I could see the Omnis from the front. I'm sorry, yeah, I could see the Omnis because the trades are lower, and then the Omnis would be in back. Oh, because it's got stuff on the floor. Yeah, I need to. I got stuff on my desk too. It's really annoying. Time for us to do a how to curate your collection video. I don't have any books that I don't want right now. I've given away every. If I read it and am not going to reread it, I give it away, or yeah, I give it away, or I take it to Second and Charles or something. So everything I have right now is curated. I have it, and I want to keep it. But doubling up on that, and I could still keep my action figures on there. They're that deep. That's not a bad idea. Justice Clutter is still better than Lou's bare ass walls. Yeah, Endman 40. I'm gonna give you credit. If I redo my shelves, I will definitely give you credit. Some manga collectors do make videos about reorganizing their collection. You could do a live stream doing it. Yeah. You've given me food for thought. Okay, good night, Brandon. Thank you for tuning in. The reason this show's still going on is because I'm having an idea on air, which is better than a breakdown on air. Thank you, Chest. I appreciate your good tidings towards me. Thank you very much. So yeah, I will start giving this serious thought. Everything should be properly shelved. It shouldn't be on the it shouldn't be on the floor. Nelson, yes, I have Zenith. Right here. And I have to be honest with you, I have found it to be kind of a tough read. I'll try again, but I found it to be a little tougher than I initially thought it was going to be. Halo Jones, I don't think I have it. That's an Alan Moore book, right? I don't think I have it. I love your content. Thank you, Comic Classic. Do I dust my shelves? I do. I dust my statues. I don't dust my action figures, which I probably should do. So Yeah, I do dust my shelves though, and I do dust my big action, my big statues. Yes, Jess, I am happy you won that Senate seat. Was there a brag up for a Senate or a dog? Was there an Omnidog up for vote? What are the best Judge Dredd stories you read? I need to finish that and do a video on it. I know those are famous last words. Taylor Brown is probably out there laughing at me. As I say, I need to finish that and do a video on just about everything. I would say right now the best Judge Dredd story I read. I think the Cursed Earth Uncensored so far has been my favorite book. The Cursed Earth or Cursed Earth Uncensored. Oh, you can come by anytime, dude. Thank you for the nice compliments. That is nice. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, this is good to know. Okay, I will do that. Yeah, collecting the case files is the simplest way to do it. I wanted to know what the best oversized Judge Dredd ones that may have coloring in them. They don't all have to be colored, but some of them I was interested in there having color. But I didn't want to get the case files like 1 through 35 or whatever. I wanted just the really important, interesting, cool stories. I didn't want everything. So that's why I'm doing it the way I am, which is all the oversized hardcovers that people recommend to me. Jess, did you get any Omnis lately? I got this. War of the Realms. That might be the only one I got recently. What's over here? Yeah, what is kind of stuff on the floor? Oh, that's the Meta Barons book. No, wait. Oh, Marvel Horror Lives Again. I like these horror books. And it's with the Meta Barons. It's still in the wrapper from IST. Our sponsor. But I think those are the only Omnis I've gotten recently. Yeah. Have you read Apocalypse War yet? Is that a Judge Dredd book? Or is that an X-Men book? Oh, Apocalypse War. Yeah, I did. That's a Judge Dredd book. Yeah, I did read that. I enjoyed that. Yeah. I read Apocalypse War. Here, wait a second. Here are the Judge Dredd books that I've read so far. I started out with Judge Dredd featuring Judge Death. I don't know that you really need to start out with that. This is just a cool book that a good friend Chris Hansen sent me. But I think you should definitely start out with Case Files 5, which is back in print now. Then I read Apocalypse War. Then I read a couple of comic books. Judge Dredd, the magazine. This looks like the first issue. Okay, somebody sent me that as a gift. Then I read Volume 2, Judge Dredd Crime Files. Then came Apocalypse War. Actually, this was really good. Apocalypse War was really good. Then I read America. which was also good. Actually, all these Judge Dredd books have been really good. And then I read Cursed Earth or Cursed Earth, Uncensored, and Origins. And I got stuck because there's a big gap between that and the other books that I had. So I had to stop. And then I got the books, and now I need to get back to my readathon. Okay. Jess, since you're making note of Jodorowsky books, you shouldn't pass on the Titans comics, future prints. I do have a couple Lone Sloan books up there, as a matter of fact. Yes, I'm on book 2 of Invincible. I need to catch up. Those Omnibros are ahead of me. Those other Omnibros. So, you can catch me, Omnidog, on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube, and Omnidogs_Vault on Instagram. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. You guys are great. We appreciate InStockTrays.com, our sponsor. They are great. And thank you to those of you who are watching this afterwards. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys watching us. Please feel free to give a like and a comment and subscribe to us. Consider us on Patreon. And peace and love, peace and love. Thank you all for tuning in. Oh, Crime Corner tomorrow night at 7 on Omnidog's Vault, Eastern Time. That's right, Taylor. I'm not good at that. Crime Corner tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Omnidog's Vault. Peace and love.